Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Vista College course in marketing. I'm Dr. Richard McElroy. I'll be your professor for this course. I wanted to take a couple of minutes and give you a quick introduction of myself and an orientation into the course. I like this course a lot, by the way. I helped design it in 2016. Let's take a look. Again, what I'd like to do is give you some idea about me, who I am as your professor for the next 5 weeks. Take a quick look at the course shell, some tips I have for you, and then, of course, the content of the course and expectations for the course. Something about me. I've told a thousand students this over the years. I started where all great business professors started. U.S. Navy submarine service patrolling the North Atlantic. I'm an old sub sailor. I was stationed in Groton, Connecticut, and I patrolled out of Scotland, the North Atlantic, north of Iceland. Let's see, I have a family. I have a grown and an adult paramedic daughter. We live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I like Raleigh a lot. If you look at that picture in the upper right hand corner, I have a lap dog. If you have a really big lap, he's a 90-pound black Labrador. Let's see, I'm a scuba diver, a certified advanced scuba diver. I have 5 certifications, including rescue and deep dive and Rex. Got a couple of books out there if you're really interested. If third one, hopefully on the way this year. I'm 53,000 words into writing that. Another quick one. I wanted to tell you about my college. I have a number of degrees. My college experience all was as a working adult. Why I think that's particularly pertinent to the course, but I find helpful in the past with students is I've been where you are. I've been a working adult in school, so working all day, coming home and mowing the grass, feeding the dog, paying the bills, and then stealing away to study for a while. So I've been where you are. I understand. Let's take a quick look at the course shell, particularly 2 points I want to would like to make. If you take a look at your landing page, the course home landing page, you're going to find on the left side your menu, and I'm sure you're all familiar with your course shell. By the way, I highly recommend go in and take a look at every area. You can't break anything, and you'll want to navigate through the entire course shell to make sure you're familiar with where everything is. But two, I wanted to point out particularly, if you take a look at the left side just under home, you'll see announcements. I make course home announcements to help the students navigate the course. So I would recommend, I'd ask that you regularly go in, take a look at those announcements. I'll try to give you tips, tricks, techniques about the assignments for that week. All right, so take a look at those announcements frequently. Another one is the syllabus. I know you're familiar with your syllabus, but your syllabus is a general map, if you will, back to the Navy days and course charts. It helps you chart where you're going in the course. So be very familiar with your syllabus. If I were you, I recommend this. I always have to my students. Print it out. Have your course syllabus. You know what's coming up every week, what the expectations are, the task you have. So take a look at that course syllabus. Another one, I recommend this to all the students also. And I'll have a separate presentations on learning objectives for you. But basically, what are learning objectives? Learning objectives are sentences, short sentences on what the student should be able to accomplish at the end of the week or at the end of the study. It always starts with an action verb. Describe, explain, use, list. You be able to do something. So how are the learning objectives used? Well, one is they're used by the instructional designer. So outside of the student, they're used by the instructional designer. Instructional designers take the learning objectives what the student should be able to do at the end of the course of study, and then they develop that course of study. Certain reading, certain assignments, certain written assignments, quizzes, discussions. They will develop a course of activity that leads to development, so you'll be able to accomplish those learning objectives. So that's the instructional designer. But how can you use learning objectives? And I've recommended this to 1,000 students. You can use your learning objectives in basically two ways. One, at the beginning of the week, if you take your learning objectives, that is your guide for your study through the week. If the learning objectives are key activities, skills, and knowledge you should have at the end of the week, those learning objectives will help you, guide you through your course of study. Things will, you'll be focused, pulled into specific areas as you read the text and study the text from those learning objectives. Number two, how else can you use it? If the learning objectives are key things you should know and be able to do at the end of the week, it's essentially a self-test. Take your learning objectives at the end of the week, read them, see if you can actually do what the learning objectives suggest. If not, it gives you a great opportunity through that self-test to go back into the textbook, look up topical areas that you're somewhat weak on, and restudy those. All right, let's take a quick look at your weekly discussion. Your weekly discussion is very important for all courses, but especially in this course. You'll see some 40% of all points for the course are in the discussion. Well, let me briefly suggest to you why it's so important. If you'll take a look at my grading criteria, these are my expectations for a discussion. If you take a look at that first highlighted box, you'll see that I'm looking for two things in your answer. Your course material, it's a knowledge of the course material, and then critical thinking. I'm looking for a demonstration of a clear, strong knowledge that is best demonstrated by referencing, citing theories, ideas, notions, things from the textbook, things that you've read. I want to move all students, and I've always done this, I want to move all students away from an opinion-based problem solving or opinion-based decisions. In your workplace, you'll want to start to develop evidence-based problem solving, evidence-based decision making. So in your writing, you'll want to move away from opinion and start to replace it with evidence. How do you do that? In critical thinking, you're thinking about the knowledge you know, but how would you apply it? Reflecting back to past experiences. How did the theories, notions, ideas that we're studying actually work? Reflecting or forecasting, moving into the future. If you were to take the topical material that we're studying, would you expect it to work in the workplace, in the real world, and support your ideas, your points, your positions with material from the textbook or from research? You'll never want to make a professional argument in the workplace, as an example, in a written report based purely on opinion. So what I'll help you do in the course is to start moving away from opinion-based positions to evidence-based positions. Now, if you take a look at the next area, 30% of all the points every week in your discussion go strictly to replies. I'm looking for the same criteria: clear demonstration of course knowledge, material knowledge, and critical thinking, the ability to apply that knowledge. So in your replies to colleagues, be sure to move well past opinion, well past conversational posts, like, I like that, that was a great post, you betcha I've done that too, to more reasoned evidence-based post. Engage in the topic with your colleagues. This next one you'll see I've highlighted writing. I give 10% of the points every week to writing. Why do I emphasize writing? Well, one, you could say, well, gee, that's purely an academic element. However, what you'll find in the workplace is that you will want to write professionally in all of your documents, in your emails, in your post, in one-page memos, in your reports that you'll eventually write to your senior management, department heads, to your VP of operations. You'll want to start writing clearly. Now, in this writing, and we have writing assignments, I'll post another presentation for you on how to write a solid professional paper. Again, it's certainly applicable in academia, but more importantly, it is applicable and important to your career, to professional writing on the job. Then you'll see I allocate points to timing. Well, why? Why would I give points to timing? Because I want you to engage with your colleagues in a discussion. If, as an example, you waited and you put 3 posts in at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, that's not so much a discussion as it is a data dump. So it's not an academic exercise. It is to get you engaged early in the week in a scholarly discussion on the topic with your colleagues. So I'll give you points for getting in and posting an answer by at least Wednesday, and then getting in and posting to your colleagues a couple of times by at least Sunday. Let me give you a tip. What I've seen all over the years, what I've seen all of my strong, successful students do, there is a repeated pattern in their discussions. They always get in early and they always post more than 3 times. I've seen it 100 times. I've seen my most successful students, I suspect what they're doing is reading and studying over the weekend. And then Sunday night or Monday, they post an answer. And then they immediately turn around, and Tuesday they're in looking to see if anybody else has posted, and they're posting to their colleagues. So my most successful students I see are in the discussion before Wednesday, and they post more than 3 times. All right, let's move on. All right, you'll see I've posted up here a couple of other very short presentations. I want to give you some ideas of my expectations and some tips to help you be more successful in 2 things. One, your discussion. I'll post another presentation up there to help you through a discussion post. And another one is writing the college paper. Again, I want to emphasize your academic writing is a prelude to professional writing. So while I'll stress writing, certainly your writing assignment each week, but in your discussion post, the reason I'll stress writing is not, if you will, academic fervor. I love academic writing. It's to help you professionally write for the workplace. It will be critical in your career. So I'll give you a couple of presentations on those also. And a quick note on writing a professional paper, whether in academia or for your business, for your company. You'll find there are a few commonalities, and the URL, that web address that I've posted up there, it's a great place to go, and you can scan, and it has all of the basics on writing the college paper, which is very similar to writing the professional paper. Here are some of the keys. Every professional paper has a title page. You certainly want to tell whoever's reading it what it is, who wrote it, who's it to, what date. So it has a title page. Every professional paper has page headings, page numbers. Every professional paper has section headings. Every professional paper has a reference list. Every professional paper has a basic structure to a paragraph: thesis statement and evidence. You can find that on the URL. There are thousands of places on the internet that you can get some tips and help, but you'll want to start to develop sound writing for your career. All right, everybody, that's pretty much it. Just briefly, remember your learning objectives. Take a look at those learning objectives as key guides to your study each week and self-test at the end of the week. Be sure to study your weekly reading, your textbook, just like you had to turn around and teach it the next day. It'll help you develop around that material better. Fully engage every week in your discussions. I would highly recommend adhere to the policies, end by Wednesday, at least 3 posts. And then key to your assignments, don't needlessly lose points. Get them in on time. All right, everybody, that's it, and I'll see you online.